Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha. Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharanya Trambake Devi Narayani Namostute. Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Pujamulam Gurur Padam Mokshamulam Gurur Krupa. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Shri Hanumanji Maharaj Ki Jai. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 16th of July 2025. I want to offer my prostrations to all the great Mahatmas, sages present on the planet today, who are yet to come in the future, who have come in the past, and to the one Supreme Paramatma residing in the heart of every being at all times in every place. We are continuing to examine, by the grace of Paramatma and all the great sages, the extraordinary concepts and ideas that are connected to the Prem-Lakshana Bhakti. Just as a quick reminder, Prem-Lakshana Bhakti is the culmination. It is the culmination of the 9 forms of devotion. The 9 forms of devotion are called Navadha Bhakti, and they are Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu meaning Paramatma, Bhagavan. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyamatma, Nivedanam. So we have covered those last month and the month before. This month, this entire month, we are covering Prem-Lakshana Bhakti. It's the 10th Bhakti. It is the non-directional Bhakti, where love flows without any type of distortion. There is no distraction. There is no just one direction. It is all directions. This is Bhakti. Bhakti is Sneha, is intense love for God and for Guru, Bhagwan or Bhagwan ke Sant. The extraordinary love energy that opens up. Now we've been talking about love energy. This is Prema Shakti. What is this love energy? Where does it exist actually? Is it inside of us? Is it outside of us? So from a more Vaishnava point of view, and particularly the Gaudiya Vaishnava point of view, the source of the entire creation itself is love energy. Think of it this way. Nothing can even exist without love, without prema. So if you remember, we were looking at various technical terminologies regarding this. And specifically, we were looking at these Sandhini Shakti, Samvit Shakti, Haladini Shakti. You can see it in the diagram here. So this Haladini Shakti is this unbounded Ananda, Mahabhav, that Radhika ji herself has, and she grants this Mahabhav to the Bhaktas. Now please, I just want to make one point very clear here. Whoever one's Guru may be, or Ishtadevata may be, this all applies universally. Someone may not be a Bhakta of Radha and Krishna, somebody might be a Bhakta of Shiv and Shakti, or Hanumanji Maharaj and Bhagwan Ram, or some other form of Paramatma somewhere, in some other tradition. It's perfectly alright. The same truth applies. Love is just love. And to reach Mahabhav, or to get even a glimpse of Mahabhav, as we have been saying last several days, is the extraordinary potentiality within all of us. Because the Haladini Shakti is the internal ecstatic potency of God. Bhagavan is the greatest enjoyer. We see like in Shiv Charitra, they're dancing Shiva. Why is that? Because of the internal ecstasies, the internal ecstatic potential. Be very clear, this is an English word, ecstasy. It is referring to intense joy, intense height of emotional possibility. Now remember, I've mentioned this before, I want to make it very clear. There are 3 stages here. The first stage is that our emotions are flowing in a polar and oscillation phenomena. Rag or dvesha. We like someone, we don't like someone. We like this thing, we don't like this thing. We feel we have attraction towards someone, then we don't like somebody else. ऐसा सब चलता है. This is called dvanda. All those emotions are like this. We like some foods, we don't like some foods. All that kind of stuff is going on inside the usual human emotional framework. That is kind of where we begin. The 9 forms of devotion, Navada Bhakti, and many of you are doing it in your lives. Some of you are very advanced in that, so you know what this is. By listening to the glories of God, listening to bhajans, and doing Guru Puja and Guru Seva and Bhagwan Ki Seva, all those things, those are all 9 forms of devotion. So what does that do? That takes the usual polar, fragmented emotions and mind in general to a new level, that is Shuddha, Purna Shuddhata. I'm just reviewing from last couple of days because some people are new. I just want to make sure this is really clear. For Shuddha Sattva Gun, our system reaches that stage of 100% Sattva. Very rare in life. If it reaches that, my God, some people will say, what a great being this is. People will be attracted towards you because of the presence of Sattva Gun. But that is still within Maya. Remember that. But nonetheless, that is a doorway. To reach that Shuddha Sattva state is the second stage, stage number 2. Now, as 9 forms of devotion increase, they flourish from within. हिंदी में कहना है तो हमारे जीवन में भक्ति बिना कुछ रहता नहीं. भक्ति ही रहती है. And that doesn't mean you're sitting in the mandir all the time with God. Wherever you go, mandir is there. Wherever you go, the Paramatma is with you, within us, outside us. It's not forgotten even for a moment. So we begin to have Divya Drishti, Shuddha Drishti, and then something special happens by Guru Krupa. If you have Guru, Satpurush, जो बड़े बड़े संत जिसको मिले हैं, और भगवान, इष्ट देवता, उनकी दया से, उनकी कृपा दृष्टि से क्या होता है? वो परमात्मा गुणों से बाहर हमको ले जाते हैं. It takes us out of Sattva Gun. This is stage 3. To go out of Sattva Gun, no human being has power to do that. We can get ourselves into Shuddha Sattva. We say that, make your life positive, make your life better, all that kind of stuff. Make your life, get rid of the negativity, have good vision. We talk about these things in other programs. Fine. That is all sattvic activity. That's fine. But there is that divinity, divyata, जिसको भगवान कहते हैं, जिसको आत्मा कहते हैं, आत्मा और परमात्मा, भगवान का जो धाम है, वो गुणातीत है, गुणों से बाहर है, सत्व से पर है. It is beyond Sattva Gun. And there's no sadhana anywhere that anybody can do to go outside of that. That is only by the grace, by Krupa of Paramatma, whose Maya it is. He will take the Bhakta and take that Bhakta out of Sattva Gun. Because Sattva Gun is the chains of gold and platinum. वो भी माया का tremendous बंधन है, Sattva Gun. By the way, to explain what that means, let's say you have an individual. I'll use myself as an example. Let's say Sachin is very sattvic. We're trying to reach that. It's fine. If it happens, right? So you start, if you reach that state of purity, that sense comes that I am sattvic. We realize this and others are not. Even though we don't find faults with others or anything like that, there is the awareness of the Sattva Gun as a divisive feature. इसको सात्विक अहंकार भी कहते हैं. And so you can notice how the chains of gold and platinum. Not only that, but there's all other kinds of deficiency that comes about. Because the main deficiency is that I am different from you. That still remains in Sattva Gun. There's a lot of ways that Sattva Gun is binding. So these are some of the ways. Now, भगवान की कृपा दृष्टि से वो सत्व गुण का इन्फ्लुएंस निकाल देते हैं. That is very difficult to explain. It's not explainable. But we shall try by the grace of Bhagwan Krishna. We shall try. What is his will? भगवान कृष्ण स्वयं कहते हैं गीता जी में that this sattva gun, rajogun, tamogun is my maya. Daivi esha gunamayi mama maya duratya. We've said this shlok so many times. Whose maya is it? His maya. What is maya? It is Shakti, Mahashakti, जिसको हम पराम्बा कहते हैं, देवी कहते हैं, महालक्ष्मी, महाकाली, महासरस्वती, ये सब दिव्य शक्ति है. वो भगवान ही है और भगवान का ही पावर. चैतन्य महाप्रभु says that is inferior energy. It is the material energy. Durga Devi is in charge of that material energy. Right? So there's a whole gradation like this. The point is that Mahamaya is ready to release the Jivatma into the Dham, Kailas Dham, Mahakailas Dham, Mahavaikuntham, Golok Dham, Akshar Dham. ये सब अलौकिक places है. They're planets actually. They're planets, but they're not like these kinds of planets. It's not like, you have certain number of people who can go there and then now it's full. There's no end to the number of people that can go inside Golok, Vaikuntha or Mahakailas. इसका कोई अंत नहीं है. वो अनंत भूमि है, वो दिव्य भूमि है, वो चैतन्य भूमि है, प्राकृत भूमि नहीं है वो. और वो देखना है उसको, अब देख सकते हैं. प्रेम लक्षणा भक्ति सिद्ध कीजिए. Go into the 10th Bhakti, Akhand Bhakti, 24-hour unbroken link with Paramatma. वो स्वयं आ जाते हैं आपके पास. Guaranteed बात है ये. We looked at Vachanamrut, Garada Pratham 5 just yesterday. 100%. If people say, where is God? If you want to see God, no problem. You can see God. Why not? God will see you. He's already there. Akhand Bhakti उनके साथ करनी चाहिए. That takes us out of Sattva Gun. It takes us out of the bondages of Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti Avastha. Right? Waking, dream, deep sleep state. These are binding to the Jivatma is bound in the Sattva, Rajatama, Jagrat, Swapna, Shushupti, and the Sthul, Sukshma, Karan. 3. There's 9 aspects to this total. Jivatma is stuck inside there. Bhagwan ki krupa drishti se, and specifically in this case, we're talking about the Vaishnava tradition, Shri Radhika ji, उनकी कृपा दृष्टि से वो भक्त को मुक्त बना देती है. क्या बात है ये, अद्भुत बात है ये. और जो गुरु परंपरा, वैष्णव में गुरु परंपरा, शैव में गुरु परंपरा है, anywhere the real guru parampara is only just it's a doorway into the Haladini Shakti itself. It's a doorway. I'll give you a simple example. Let's take Shiv and Parvati as an example, right? Parvati ji, the charitra aisa aata hai that I'm going to marry Shiv only. See that this is the story, the charitra, right? The Varu Shambhu nahi to rahungi Kumari. Shiv is Shiv, only Shiv, nothing else other than Shiv. There's nobody other than Shiv for me. Whether it's this life, 100 lives, million lives, whatever. This is Parvati ji ki bhakti thi. इसको पतिव्रता की भक्ति कहते हैं. When we have this kind of nishta towards Ishta Devata, then by the grace of Radhika ji, by the grace of that Mahahaladini Shakti, that doorway opens through Guru Krupa. Many gurus are present, all the right gurus come, and then the doorway opens into beyond Sattva Gun. And it is beyond Sattva Gun that the Mahabhav is granted to the Bhakta. हाँ, और इसमें अलौकिक अनुभव है. भगवान के अनुभव इसमें होते हैं. If you want to see God, this is how. Listen to this entire series from last couple of months and try to live this way, all of us together, me, you, everybody. Guaranteed भगवान आ जाएगा आपके पास. 100% गारंटी है. इसमें कोई राग, द्वेष, अहम, ममत्व का कोई स्थान ही नहीं है इसमें. किसी के साथ भेदभाव, किसी के साथ अहम भाव, किसी के साथ मेरा तेरा, ये सब छोड़ दो. ये सब कचरा है, ट्रैश. इसका तो कोई स्थान ही नहीं है इसमें. That's gone. When that all goes, the antakarana is brimming with natural vairagya and jnana. This is the power of bhakti. Bhakti की जो शक्ति ऐसी है कि automatically ज्ञान and vairagya and dharma, Jnana and Vairagya automatically come inside the heart of the individual. You don't necessarily have to study all the Vedanta scriptures. You can. इसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, वो ऑटोमेटिक आ ही जाता है. Why? How can that be? That is the special nature of bhakti. Especially when we reach the 10th bhakti, or by grace the 10th bhakti is granted. ये जो 10th भक्ति, प्रेम भक्ति, नारद भक्ति सूत्र में नारद जी कहते हैं प्रेम भक्ति भगवान और भगवान के संत के लिए, भगवान और भगवान के जो भक्त है, और ऑफ कोर्स गॉड इज प्रेजेंट एवरीवेयर, ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वम्. दैट प्रेम भक्ति इज ग्रांटेड टू द भक्त. हमारे में कोई ऐसी लायकात भी नहीं है, ताकत भी नहीं है, possibility भी नहीं that we can by our will reach prema bhakti. We cannot. We can do 9 navda bhakti, and even that has to be done without ahankar. Otherwise we will not be qualified for prema bhakti. The 9 forms of devotion have to be performed without ahankar. और बहुत difficult है वो, because we wind up comparing ourselves with somebody else who's not doing that. The moment anybody gets into a comparison, like a simple example, you take this, ये जो जप माला है और नमः शिवाय मंत्र, Sachin decides, okay, every day we want to do 11 rounds, 1000 plus mantras every day. Few people are in the home. I start doing it every day. I see the I, ahankar, right there. I'm doing. Finish. Right there, there's a failure. There's no I that is doing that. नवदा भक्ति में अहंकार का पूर्ण त्याग होना चाहिए. हम नहीं जानते हिंदी, but I start to speak in Hindi a little bit here. You see, it is so difficult, because if 4 or 5 people are staying, some friends are there, Sachin starts chanting, 11 malas every day, my ego will kick right inside and say, hello. See how wonderful I'm doing this. And then Sachin will tell his family members, why you're not doing that? You should also be doing this. We start giving advice to 10 other people. ठीक है, किसी को बताना इसमें कोई बात नहीं. To leave the ahankar aside is an extremely, it is so difficult, because that ahankar is always present somewhere. और इसका जो समर्पण हो जाता है भगवान के चरणों में, भगवान के जो बड़े बड़े संतों हैं उनके चरणों में जब हमारा अहंकार समर्पित हो जाता है, वहां राधिका जी कृपा करती है. मैं आपको, she'll take us to महाभाव, she'll open the door into 10th bhakti. It transforms the personality from inside out. हमारा अहंकार नहीं रहता इसमें. And what is that prema bhakti? What is it that happens in this? In that prema bhakti, you begin to get glimpses of the extraordinary transcendental emotional rasa. भगवान के जो रस है वो राधिका जी देती है. It's extraordinary. So the intensity of rasa, as we mentioned before, I'm repeating this again, rasa is not merely an emotional response. It is the essence of adhyatmik anubhav, spiritual experience itself, marking a dynamic communion with the Supreme Lord, with the Supreme Paramatma. Kya adbhut baat hai. My goodness. We do get emotional responses. There's no question about that. Our emotions sometimes get very much activated. But it's much more than that. It's much more than that. It is a dynamic communion with the Supreme. Now, what is the difference between these two? That emotional response of ecstasy and just enjoyment, and you see people dancing and singing, and bhajan mein jab vritti lag jati hai, we get absorbed in that. Yes, very good. That is a good stage. But that will not last, because that is a human emotion that has been activated up to a certain point. Energy has reached that. That is a transformative process that brings us rasa. It opens up rasa within the dynamics of human emotion. Yes, that's necessary. That will happen. But remember, there's a danger in that too. Not that there's nothing wrong with the rasa, गुणातीतानंद स्वामी जो भगवान स्वामीनारायण के संत थे, उन्होंने ये पॉइंट में लिखा है, भक्ति मां स्वभाव वधाए, स्वभाव, what is the word? I forgot the Gujarati now. I'll translate it for you. When this emotional rasa increases and we are deficient in Guru Seva, deficient in Gnan and Vairagya, that emotion that has been activated towards Paramatma, it will flip into Vishaya Bhog. It will go from that ecstasy into Bhagwan, the ecstatic rasa, which is still at the human level, within the mental level. And because Gnan and Vairagya and Dharma are deficient and we have not reached beyond Sattva Gun, the mind will flip into Vishaya Bhog. It will flip into Rajas. This is a serious problem on spiritual path. बहुत हुआ है. I don't want to go into the examples of this. बहुत examples हुए. Even sannyasis have gone through these problems. Even they go through them today. Because they are swinging back and forth between rasa and bhoga. And as long as that swinging is going on between rasa and bhoga, that means we are still within rajogun, tamogun, rajogun and sattvagun. We're swinging between rajas and sattva. And there is a deficiency in our bhakti. There's a deficiency in Guru Seva. There is a deficiency in the connection with Paramatma. There's a deficiency somewhere. As long as this swinging is going back and forth. And if this swinging continues back and forth, it will lead to what the Gita says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gnanavanam Prapadate. It will lead to many, 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 many lifetimes. And a person will be a yoga bhrashta again and again and again, until he comes to the end of that. Now, do we want to go through a long-winded process like this? Millions, or we can stop, or we can end it now. There's always a backdoor. Bhagwan Krishna dono marg batate hai isme. We can go through Bahunam Janmanam Antignanavanam Prapadete Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Long-term process. Bahunam Janmanam Ante. Swinging back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. If we don't want to keep swinging like this and keep taking birth after birth after birth, even in satsang, even on the spiritual path, we'll keep taking births again. If we want to reach the Paramatma completely in divine communion, do not want to be in the cycle of birth and death anymore, and want to live with Paramatma in the abode of God. If that's what we want, how do we do that? Is it possible? Yes, why not? Absolutely possible. It's actually quite straightforward. Say, मैं तेरा हूँ, बस, I'm yours, 100% yours, nobody else's. कुछ भी मेरा नहीं है, कोई मेरा नहीं, मैं तेरा ही हूँ. I'm just completely 100% yours. When that happens, and then the 9 forms of devotion automatically spring. Bhakti, it's not a person's not doing bhakti anymore. Bhakti just opens up. That's all that is required. The 100% turning over of oneself at the feet of Bhagwan. 100%, not 99%, not 99.99999%. 100%. इसको कहते हैं पूर्ण शरणागति. Purna bhav. And when we are in that is not a matter of time. People say, why God is so difficult to realize? God is not difficult to realize. We want to stay within Maya, and we want to realize God. How is that possible? We want to enjoy the influence of Maya and realize God. Well, if you want to do that, then you can, but that influence of Maya, one has to go through that. It will cause many, many, many lifetimes, and eventually one will reach Gnan and Vairagya, and then let go of that influence of Maya. That is growing up. That is a spiritual maturity. How long we'll keep playing with the small toys of the world. It's like the small children, 2, 3-year-old, 5-year-olds playing with those fire engines and small cars. They keep playing around with all that stuff. How much you have to grow out of that. The Panch Vishayas of the world, we grow out of those things. This is child's play. Enough. We continue living our life normally, but internally we grow out of it and set the direction towards Prem-Lakshana Bhakti, towards Akhanda Bhakti. And when we set that direction, set that intention, have that Sharanagati, have that Guru Krupa, have that real intense mumukshutvam, that we really just want to realize Paramatma, life is going to go on. Sansar to aise hi chalega, isme kya naya hai? There's nothing new in this sansar. It's all part of the three gunas of mind. There's nothing new ever in the sansar. It's just a further modification of what's already there. That's all it is. More enhanced experiences. That's all it is. What's new in that? इसमें कुछ नया नहीं है. इसका तिरस्कार भी नहीं. तिरस्कार maybe it's a Gujarati word. You're not disliking or hating the sansar or anything like that. That's another mistake. Somebody starts taking the spiritual path towards bhakti, says, "Oh, bhi sansar sab kachra hai, this is useless, this is meaningless." No, that's a wrong attitude. Sansar is also a power of Paramatma. To disrespect the existence of the sansar is to disrespect Bhagavan. You don't disrespect the sansar. We just have to recognize its limitations, that's all. And when we recognize its limitations, then we can go beyond it. That's why it exists. So in this way, in our lives, one step at a time, one moment at a time, that extraordinary glimpse of Mahabhav happens out of Sattva Gun, outside of Sattva Gun. और भाई इसका वर्णन कोई नहीं कर सकता. It's not possible to describe this. It changes the Swapna Avastha completely. It changes, Sushupti Avastha changes, Swapna Avastha changes. Sushupti Avastha in the dreamless deep sleep, इसमें आत्मा का दर्शन होता है. विचार कीजिए. We cannot, it's a total blank space there. We are not aware of anything that is happening. But there is, by the grace of that Mahashakti, there is opening from inside where the Atma Darshan begins to happen in the Shushupti Avastha. It is the Sakshi inside the Shushupti Avastha. ऐसे अलौकिक सब दर्शन होते, वो अलौकिक स्थिति है, वो बड़े संतों की स्थिति है. ऐसे सब दिव्य दर्शन होते हैं. You see, so there are so many things that can appear there. There are absolutely divine. भगवान के जो धाम है, सब ब्रह्मांड का सब दर्शन हो सकता है इसमें, और बहुत कुछ हो सकता है. So many things are possible once the sattva gun is transcended. And that is the destination. गुणातीतः स उच्यते. गुणों से बाहर निकलना है. और जब गुणों से बाहर निकलता है भक्त, वो मुक्त बन जाता है. That is the third stage. And in that stage, there is Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti में पूरी स्वतंत्रता आ जाती है. I've been talking about this in the Gujarati recordings on Vedras, in the Swaminarayan spirituality recordings. Those are available in Gujarati, but I'll mention some points here. What happens there? The Jivan Mukta is a living, liberated being. Yeah, there's a body. Jagra, Swapna, Shushupti avasthas are there, but there's no binding in those avasthas at all. इसका कोई बंधन नहीं है. वो स्वतंत्र बन जाते हैं 3 अवस्था में. अब ये बहुत PhD लेवल का सब्जेक्ट है वो, to even describe that. But स्वतंत्रता in the Jagrat avastha is the first place. We are freed. Our energies, our mind, our buddhi, it is not pulled by anything outside or from the inside in any direction that entangles the Jivatma at all. That stops. That is called Swatantra, Purna Swatantrata. और इस प्रकार की जो पूर्ण स्वतंत्रता है, इसमें भगवान के साथ पूरा परतंत्र रहता है भक्त. So there's paratantra and swatantra. At the feet of God, the devotee is 100% dependent on God constantly, like a small 2-3-year-old child who is constantly clinging to their parents. Just like that clinging to Paramatma as a small child, that is paratantra. जब हमारी मनोवृत्ति, हमारी जो this thought, emotion, memory, desire, energy, all five, our antakarana is clinging to God and to great sages, completely clinging as a small child. When that actually happens, भगवान की कृपा दृष्टि होती है, राधिका जी की कृपा दृष्टि होती है, महाशक्ति की कृपा दृष्टि होती है. She releases the Jivatma from the Sattva Gun. The binding of the sattva gun is released, and from that release, complete freedom is granted in the Jagrat Swapna Shushupti Avastha. और भगवान 5 प्रकार की मुक्ति देते हैं. 5 types of mukti are given. Even the bhakta is not looking for that. By force they are given to the bhakta. Srimad Bhagavad में ये बात है. You know, that is 3rd canto, 12th, yes, it's in the 3rd canto somewhere. I think it's the 12th chapter, something like that. These 5 forms of mukti are granted to the bhakta. Okay, I want to stick to time, so it is 8:30. I've been going way over time, so let's stop here. We'll pick this up tomorrow. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurumedev Sarvakaricha Sarvada Dhyanamoolam Gururmurti Mantramulam Gurur Vakyam Pujamulam Gurur Padam Mokshamulam Gurur Krupa Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namo Narayanaaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Aim Rim Klim Chamundaye Viche Sarvamangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanyatrambake Devi Narayani Namosute Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita Namaste 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 Namo Nama Om Shri Radha Krishnaya Namo Nama Om Hrim Swaha.